everyone, I'm thrilled to have you here with me. Today is April 26, 2023, and I'd be happy to provide a quick summary of today's most important news for you. I have 4 news briefings to cover. Firstly, I will start with the news from the New York Times. Analysis: President Biden's pledge to defend South Korea is a striking admission that North Korea's arsenal is here to stay. Speaker Kevin McCarthy has kept Republicans united by sticking to partisan bills. A vote to raise the debt limit in exchange for spending cuts is a tougher task. House Republicans pitched their 2011 debt limit bill aggressively, trumpeting a zeal for deep spending cuts. Their latest fiscal plan tiptoes around them. Ukraine's President, Volodymyr Zelensky, said he had a long and meaningful phone call with China's leader, Xi Jinping. Born Solanowo used to embrace its history with military reenactments and Lenin banners. But nobody wants to be reminded of Russia these days. The president has no immediate plans to barnstorm key states. He will instead try to burnish his record, and hope Republican infighting continues. We spoke with 9 young people across the U.S. about how a ban would change their lives. The promotion with a transgender woman put Bud Light in the center of the culture wars in a way that no company could possibly want, one observer said. The scrutiny on the cryptocurrency exchange Binance and its founder has sent new tremors through a market that is still bruised by the implosion of FTX. In an accompanying statement, Chief Justice John Roberts and the other 8 justices insisted their current ethical guidelines were sufficient. The decision barring the $69 billion takeover of a big video game publisher is a major loss for Microsoft, which also faces pushback from U.S. regulators. After pleading no contest to 2 misdemeanor charges for his role in a fatal car crash, the lineman has become one of the league's most inscrutable prospects. Christina Sharp is expanding the vocabulary of life in slavery's long shadow, peeling back the meaning of familiar words and resurrecting neglected history. Some people believe that where you are during your solar return, an annual event, can change your destiny. For one writer, it was worth a try. David Leonhardt asks why President Biden doesn't spend more time in the public eye. Voters are wary of President Biden. Here's why he might win anyway. Governor Kathy Hochul wants to increase incentives to film and television to $700 million a year, but some say it's a bad deal for the state's taxpayers. 13 U.S. service members and scores of Afghan civilians died in the bombing as the United States was evacuating in August 2021. Belafonte, who died Tuesday at 96, was cool and charismatic, and channeled stardom into activism. He knew how to teach and challenge us, our critic writes. The use of a digidog in a real-world emergency gave Mayor Eric Adams a chance to restate his interest in using technology for public safety purposes. Followed by the news from the media outlet Financial. Startup behind attempt says communication with Kraft was lost meters from surface. Leftist Gustavo Petro requested cabinet resignations after coalition partners opposed health overhaul. Allies say replacing her as number 2 on the Democratic ticket was not an option. Forecast shows worldwide demand for battery-powered models has risen to record levels. U-turn adds to diplomatic tension over Russian president's invitation to BRICS summit in August. EU agriculture ministers criticize Warsaw, Budapest, Bratislava and Sofia for imposing unilateral trade measures. Challenge to sovereignty of ex-Soviet states undermines efforts to portray Beijing as peacemaker in Ukraine. Eastern Ukrainian city occupied after 2014 invasion is now close to the front line. Western governments have struggled to impose costs on relatives of the Wagner founder, even though they have been heavily involved in his businesses. Nelson Chamisa says tyranny is worse than under the late dictator Robert Mugabe. New Delhi and Beijing give little weight to long-projected population crossover. deployments designed to deter Pyongyang and reassure Seoul about alliance with U.S. Move to cut airlines' emissions aims to encourage production of alternatives such as e-kerosene. Swedish defense companies' order intake more than doubled in first quarter. Will the Conservatives pay the price at local elections in coastal areas? Ferdinand Marcos Jr. presides over joint drills that seek to counter China's strategy of area denial. Also in this newsletter, EU struggles to set election date. Also in today's newsletter, First Republic shares plunged nearly 50% and Universal Music chief criticized for excessive pay deal. Chinese tech group targets European assets as it seeks to diversify away from domestic market. Plus, Wall Street lawyers mourn their 2021 bonuses and a top Vodafone shareholder eyes its board composition. After that, I will present the BBC News. Ahmed Haroun is charged with 40 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Darfur region. The country ignores international pleas and hangs Tangaraju Sapaya for trafficking 1 kilogram of cannabis. The 2021 bombing during the evacuation from Afghanistan killed 170 civilians and 13 U.S. soldiers. Edward Lee will prepare dinner for U.S. President Joe Biden and South Korea President Yoon Suk-yeol. A cartoon by Der Spiegel on India overtaking China as the most populous nation has sparked sharp reactions. The Competition and Markets Authority says the deal would offer less choice for gamers. It said that a batch of contaminated medicine was found in the Marshall Islands and Micronesia. It is the latest move against Taiwan-linked individuals on mainland Chinese soil. She used details in pilot Ashley Jenkinson's obituary in an attempt to avoid a driving fine. The statue of the Axe-King pointing a rifle at a sculpture of a bear mocks his love of hunting. The late Queen's singer left his house and its contents, including lyrics and costumes, to Mary Austin. Communication was lost with Japan's Hakuto R lunar moments before it was due to touch down. Dennis Barnes has got into 125 schools and is hoping for more so he can reach $10 million in offers. And finally, I will discuss the news from the Japan Times. COVID-19 tracker. Tokyo logs 1,745 new coronavirus cases. Over 60% in Japan constantly keep masks on. Japan and EU oppose U.S. plan for G7 to ban all exports to Russia, report says. 67% of A-bomb survivors doubt G7 will pave way for nuclear abolition. Japan public safety chief kept eating despite news of Kishida attack. Tokyo police use quick test kit to arrest suspect for using date rape drug. China pushes ahead with new revised spy law, report says. Will the EU push back against Hungary's anti-LGBTQ+ laws? With Biden's 2024 bid, Kamala Harris will be under more scrutiny. Trump rape trial renews focus on his treatment of women. Heat stress rises for Dhaka's poor as green spaces shrink. China's Project 912 used social media to target dissidents. Inside Meta's scramble to catch up on AI. Japan aims to draw digital nomads and 100 trillion yen in foreign investment. Betting on bacteria to fix the cement industry's emissions problem. Japan regulator asks banks to examine social media risks after SVB case. Honda agrees strategic collaboration deal with TSMC. Ueda looks to avoid fireworks at first BOJ meeting as chief. That's a wrap for today's international news highlights. Hope you all got the lowdown on what's happening around the world and that your listening skills have reached new heights. Catch you all tomorrow. See you.